Patriots party. Hey, we put America first. This Patriots party.
Donald J. Trump. It's an easy answer.
Abortion. These are real issues that we are dealing with.
Death started to throw a house party on Friday. Death threw a block party on Saturday. But early Sunday morning, love got out. I say this because I want you to understand.
I took my notes, and then that's what you need to know. I took my notes.
I want to be there, but I have
What you mean? You can follow the world, I'd rather follow the King. Christ, I'm not on the fence, I don't lean. I get a new hater every time my phone ring. I'm hated by the world, but that means that I'm blessed. I keep it real and I let God handle the rest.
What is up, everyone? We're gonna get right into this. I accidentally ended the Instagram live. That was my fault. Problem my end, but we're gonna get that back up. Oops, that was my fault. Where is what is going on? This is like witchcraft. Okay, wait. What if I put this over here? My mouse connected to the wrong thing. We don't want that now, do we? Now, do we? So 1 second on Facebook, because I'm trying to get my Apple mouse connected to the iPad instead of connecting to the iMac. All right, well, that's not. There we go. What is up, everyone? We're gonna get right into this. I don't think that it's a secret. What we're going to talk about, it's no secret. We all pretty much know what I'm about to talk about. Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe Biden, right? We're going to talk about his speech. We're going to talk about the speech, and I want to say I'm shocked that he said any of the stuff that he said. But I'm not. I'm not. And we pretty much knew that this is what was going to happen. Right? We knew that he was going to label us all as these villainous bad guys. And that's not true. Right? That's not true. We all know it's not true. But it's whatever, right? It's whatever at this point. I think this is the right email to log into Twitter. Why won't it just let me sign in? It's like, no, you can't do that. Okay, let's see. What is my Twitter login? Right? And it wasn't a secret. It wasn't a secret. We all knew. And this idea that he labeled us threats to democracy, saying us, I mean MAGA Republicans, it wasn't a shocker, right? I wish I could be like, oh my gosh, Joe, why would you say that? I wish I could say that, but I can't, because I knew and you knew that that's what he was going to do, right? Everyone knew it. It was no secret. It was no secret. And so now we are stuck, and we're like, did that really happen? Yes, it happened. Joe Biden got on stage and called people a threat to democracy. And then, in less than 24 hours, when asked, do you think all Trump supporters are bad? No, not at all. Because even he knew that what he had just said was incorrect. Even he knew that the stuff that he had said was divisive. And it was something that we shouldn't hold on to in America. It was something that he knows divides us a lot more than what his original goal was. Right? We already knew that. But leave it to old Joe. Remember password here. What is my Twitter password, people? I don't know what it is. Can I just? I don't know what this is. Try this one. Try this. Try this. Nope, that's not it. Right? Joe Biden has gotten to a point, and I can't. It's probably like his speechwriters. If we're being honest with ourselves, it's probably his speechwriters that did it. Whoever they may be, whoever the powers that be, whoever is controlling what's happening behind the scenes, we're gonna blame them. But it's funny to me that after he says this, you had Kathy Griffin come out and say what she said. I guess I could just look up the tweet instead of having to log into Twitter. I just show you from here, right? And she threatens civil war, right? She threatens civil war. I'm going to share my screen for the people on Facebook and YouTube to see this. She goes off and she threatens a civil war. Right? She threatens a civil war. She says, if you don't want a civil war, vote for Democrats in November. If you do want civil war, vote Republican. She is threatening that if she doesn't get her way and how she wants people to vote, she is threatening civil war. Let's go to my Twitter. All right, let's go to my Twitter and take a look at my Twitter. Right? Where's my tweet? All right, let's go to Twitter. Let's go to my Twitter. We're on my Twitter. All right, and I'm going to turn y'all around here so y'all can see it as well. And look at my responses to it. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything for, right? No, we're not going to do that. So right here, I say Kathy Griffin is a domestic terrorist and a threat to democracy. From her graphic photo wishing harm on our beloved POTUS, Donald Trump, to now threatening civil war. The left thrives on chaos and hypocrisy, and this is it right here. This is it right here. Right? We all remember the picture of her showing Donald Trump decapitated. We remember that, don't we? We also can go back now and say, well, on top of that, she's threatening a civil war. I then replied again. I said, just when you were forgotten about, you had to make this tweet threatening democracy. If people voted against what you want, very classy. Very classy, right? It's must be a point where we can come together and say, okay, wait a second, right? These people are crazy. These people are crazy. They're out of their minds. They're out of their minds. What do we do? Right? These people are out of their minds. What do we do? Because that surely isn't the way that we want to go. Or at least I hope it's not the way we want to go. Where people, simply because if they don't get their way, because you don't vote blue, now they're threatening civil war. But remember, the MAGA Republicans are threats to democracy. It doesn't make sense. How can one threaten a civil war if they don't get their way? How can one label the other as domestic terrorist? How can one use the Department of Justice as a political weapon against the other? But one side that's not doing any of that be the ones considered threats to democracy. The ones that are being divisive. How are Republicans divisive? We're not the ones calling the left threats to democracy. We're not the one calling the left domestic terrorist. But what we have said, and what we will continue to say, is that the left-wing ideology is dangerous to the American society. That doesn't mean remove them from society like the left would like that to happen. All it means is what they believe in, we don't believe in, and we feel is dangerous to our society, which the average Democrat would say the exact same thing about the right That's just how politics works. One side doesn't like one idea, so they says, but never have we seen them say a threat to democracy, domestic terrorists. That's just never been done. And it never will be done by the right. Unless it's in a joking manner like I've done, right? You're the threat to democracy, actually. Being factual. But when you have the president of the United States endorsing it, repeating it, saying it out loud, that's where the problem comes in. That's where the problem comes in. You can believe it all you want, right? You can be a Democrat and believe that Republicans are a threat to democracy. But when the president of the United States comes out, someone who ran on this idea of being unified and all of this, when he comes out and he says that one side is a threat to democracy, simply for not agreeing with him, that's where we have a problem. That's when things start to shift. That's when I have to start questioning the integrity of some things. Because that's not right. That's not right at all. Why are we able to label someone simply based off of their political opinion? And they can't give you facts. They can't give you logic. They can't tell you why they want you to be considered a threat to democracy. Their only insult is January 6th, the insurrection. Majority of the MAGA Republicans weren't there on January 6th. Majority of the people who support Donald Trump were not there on January 6th. So think what you want about January 6th. If those are the ones you want to call domestic terrorists and threats to democracy, then by any means, go ahead. But the idea to label the entire ideology, this idea to label all those who follow this one man threats to democracy, being the president of the United States, a man who said, we're going to unify the country. That's where the problem comes in it. Because how is that unifying? That's not very unifying. I don't feel very together, right? When I get told that I'm a threat to democracy. I don't feel very together when they're pushing this idea that I am divisive, right? That's not very unified and together. In fact, it's more separating. It pushes us further away. I know plenty of police officers who are Republicans. Are they considered threats to democracy? The ones who protect and serve? Are they your threats to democracy, Mr. President? I know plenty of teachers who are conservative. Are they also threats to democracy? I know plenty of people in the business field, right? Are they also threats to democracy? I am okay with labeling a specific group, right? Which is what he was trying to lead to. January 6th. We can lead them there. We can say, okay, January 6th crowd, they are the threats, but you can't label the whole thing. What up, Liddell Bugs? Liddell is in the house, right? I remember I was on Instagram Live and someone asked me, when you follow something, do you have to accept the entire ideology as a whole, right? So this idea that I support the Republicans, which means I have to support the good, the bad, and the ugly. Or you support the Democrats, you support the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's not necessarily true. That's not true at all. You can support something, but you don't have to support it in its entirety. You can cherry pick all day long. Now, I agreed with this segment, but I didn't necessarily agree with that one. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? And that's what people don't realize. That's what people don't understand. That's the part that people don't want to take a look at, right? I can say all day long, I am a Republican, I'm a conservative, but there are some things Republicans do that I may not agree with. There are things that the Democrats do that a Democrat may not agree with. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go out of my way simply because the party did it, simply because a small group did it. Am I going to label the entire organization a threat to democracy, a domestic terrorist, whatever you want to call them? It's not fit for that. That is not the response that is needed to a certain situation just because someone doesn't agree with you. And especially not an appropriate response to say if you don't vote a certain way, there will be civil war. That's not appropriate at all. Let's go to back to the tweet. One of Kathy Griffin's tweets. She right. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, "This sounds very threatening, Kathy. Americans just want their elected leaders to solve the problems that have been shoved into their lives by stupid politicians, not your civil war." That's 100% true. No one has ever threatened, right? What up, Pew Pew Daily? A full-out civil war. Because if that was the case, right, we've been fighting a civil war the entire time. There has constantly been a war between Americans called politics. That's the biggest war I can think of right now, right? But you had people defending her saying, oh, well, the Republicans are the ones calling for war. I want you to find me a clip of a Republican, Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Ron DeSantis, Governor Abbott, Alan West. Find me one of the mainstream top Republicans in the movement right now. Show me a video of them saying, I want civil war. Find it. You can't find it. You won't find it because it doesn't exist. But I can show you multiple videos of Democrats going in saying if you see a Republican eating dinner, you interrupt their dinner and you drag them out. If you see a Republican in the streets, you go up to them and you harass them. Those are videos of Democrats doing that sort of, but you don't find Republicans doing that. And if I'm wrong, someone send it to me. We can look through the video and the context of it all day long. I could care less. But you're not going to find it. You can't find it. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you look, you won't find it because it doesn't exist. There has always been a cordial mainstream Republican. When I say mainstream, I'm not talking about the fake mainstream that Joe Biden was talking about. When I say mainstream, I'm talking about forefront. I'm talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm talking about the people who, when a Republican is speaking, it's normally them. A mainstream Democrat would be Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, AOC, right? Two sides of the... But they are mainstream. They're the ones that are on the television. They're the ones pretty much letting you know what the policy layout of the party is. You can find Maxine Waters threatening Republicans, but can you find a video of Ron DeSantis threatening Democrats? No, you can't. And it'll stay like that, right? It'll stay like that because there is a moral ground, right? There is a moral ground for the Republican Party. And that just breaks that moral ground. It'll continue to break that moral ground. That will never be an issue. Ever. That'll never be an issue of Republicans threatening a civil war out blankly like Kathy Griffin did. Now let's read another tweet. To the MAGA morons, that's what they call it now, complaining about this from Kathy Griffin, talking about the Civil War tweet. Let me help your flea-sized brains. Notice, there's no factual substance to this. The only thing he's shown so far is attacks, but what else can you expect? She is saying, we see you lunatics and what you are doing. What are we doing? Say it. We understand your desire for violence whenever we offered violence. I can look at 2020, the rioting and the looting and the bailouts of those, bailed out by Democrats, and I can see their desire for violence. If we want to save the country from you, vote Democrat. What are you saving it from? Morals? Are you saving it from common ground and common law? Are you saving it from the Constitution? Right? Because that's all Republicans are pushing is the Constitution, going back to the morals of this great nation. that's what you're pushing away from, it doesn't make sense. You are literally saying that we don't want morals in this country. We don't want to be founded on the Constitution. We want anarchy. We want chaos. We thrive on confusion. Right? We thrive on the confusion. And we're seeing it firsthand right there. They're thriving on that confusion. Right? And of course, Kathy Griffin, when two people supported her, the rest of the tweets are wait a second, this is too far. Right? This idea that they called January 6th a civil war is beyond me. How is that a civil war? They take a situation that actually happened. America did go into a civil war. America had a civil war. It was one of the bloodiest, it was the bloodiest war fought on American turf. And you're turning it into this light word. I mean, look at this guy, right? He's turning it into this light word. I'm going to show you all on here. I'm going to show you. And it's like they want violence. They desire us to come out and say, yes, we want violence. This guy right here, right? Wearing a Trump hat. MAGA Civil War, January 6, 2021. That's no patriot. I tell you, that's not sure. This is not a Trump supporter. They could have at least found a hat he's worn 2 or 3 times in this, right? This guy is not a Republican. This is the guy that when people were saying the feds were there, this is that guy. This is that guy. Most of the people there didn't even wear masks because they don't like wearing masks. All right? What do you need the walkie-talkie for? Nothing else was there. Nobody knew what was going to happen on January 6th besides people like him who dressed in all black just to see it. While the other videos show police officers opening the door, letting people in. We're not going to get into the January 6th discussion, but that's just what was there. Those are the facts. That is what was laid out to us watching the stuff. Watching the January 6th trials, which weren't an actual trial. Right? It was they were out for a witch hunt against Trump. They were trying to find something against him, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. I wonder why they couldn't do it. Because they knew. They had to go and make up stories that Donald Trump was fighting the Secret Service in the back of the limo. That's where they got to. He was fighting the Secret Service. He reached over. He was wrestling with the guy. Come on. Be realistic. I'm all for a good story every now and then. But really, it was like something out of a movie. Didn't even seem real. Didn't seem real. And because it wasn't. It wasn't. And that's what they're pushing. That's what they're going to use. You can use it all day. Right, Scott. Liz Cheney was trying to further her career, and it backfired miserably. She didn't even get 30% of the vote. She didn't even get 30% of her reelection vote because, like Joe Biden says, the threats to democracy, they went out and they voted her out for acknowledging that nonsense. And then Biden tried to talk about mainstream Republicans. Well, if there were so many mainstream Republicans, right? If there were so many mainstream Republicans, then where were they to vote Liz Cheney back in? If there were so many mainstream Republicans, why is it that majority of the Trump endorsements won their Republican primary? If there was such a stronghold of mainstream Republicans, like Joe Biden likes to say there is, where were they? They weren't there. Because majority of Republicans voted along with what Trump was saying. The 7 Republicans left that hate Trump, they're not doing much. And we would have definitely saw it in Wyoming. Because Wyoming was the election that everyone was looking at if you're Republican. Who actually has the say in this? Trump or the people like Liz Cheney? And you know it was serious when Dick Cheney came out. Dick Cheney comes and he's like, Trump's a coward. Trump's a coward. Well, what happened? What happened, right? If Trump was such a coward, if Trump wasn't going to win, what was going to happen? If you weren't scared that you were going to lose this election, why did you send out flyers telling Democrats how to switch their party to vote for you, Liz Cheney? Because Liz Cheney knew, everyone knew, that the mainstream Republican is the MAGA Republican. And the best part about the MAGA Republicans is you have some MAGA Republicans who want Trump to run for president in 2024. Some of them don't, but they still like Trump. They are still considered a MAGA Republican. Right? That's how it works. And it's going to continue to be like that for a while, I say. I'm interested in seeing where the Republican Party goes after 2028. After 2028. Because let's say Trump runs in 2024 and he wins. Ron DeSantis will no longer be governor of Florida because his term is up. So he has to run and he has to win. But given the egos of both Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, would that cause a clash in the party? Would Ron DeSantis want to be, as Liddell Buggs described Trump, that kingmaker for the Republican Party? Or would he be fine with just being the guy for now? The guy that is propped up for now to run, win, and then when he's done, he sits down and someone else. What happens when Trump is no longer here? Right? So those are the questions. It's the long-term questions. That's why I was like, where is the... It's up there, not down here. Let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. I don't know. It's delayed on here, so give me a second. Oh, it works. Yeah. So when you have a man like Trump in power, how do you say, well, what happens when he's gone? How do we move on from that? Is the party lost? Do we have that guy that we say, you know what, when everything's said and done, and this is the guy that we're giving it to, what do we necessarily say? Right? What do we necessarily do once that time does come? We have no clue yet. We don't have that right-hand man for Trump. Is it Ron DeSantis? Does this turn from Ron DeSantis' party to Trump's party? I like Don Jr. as well. Do we say after Ron DeSantis runs, we throw not Ron Jr., but Don Jr. up to run as well? I've been reading Don Jr.'s book, Liberal Privilege. The guy is not a dumb guy. Right? He knows a thing or two because he's seen a thing or two. Right? We are farmers. So, who are we going to prop up? Who are we going to put in that position to say you are the future of the Republican Party after Donald Trump? And do we continue being MAGA Republicans and threats to democracy like Joe Biden says? Right? Is it going to be, do we fall into the rhetoric that Kathy Griffin has that says vote Democrat for no civil war? Or do you go with the idea of saying, oh, vote Republican if you want civil war? Right? Who do the Democrats prop up after Joe Biden? Who is Joe Biden's right-hand man? The Libertarians, they had Ron Paul. And when he left that party, they didn't have it anymore. And so I truly believe that we're coming into a shift in politics where the two-party system is slowly going to fall because the Republicans have put all their hope and their faith into Trump, and the Democrats, right, The true Democrats who say, I am a Democrat, I align with the Democrats, I will always be a Democrat. Not the people that says, well, I like some of this and I like some. I'm talking about the mainstream Democratic platform people. They have propped up Joe Biden. And they make, and it's not many of them. It's not many of them. I mean, have you look at Biden's rallies, right? It's not many of them. But they propped up Obama. Obama gave it to Biden. Biden can't give it to Kamala because not enough of them like Kamala. Kamala doesn't have that give to be the president of the United States. Between her laughing and her poor policy, she's not going to make it. The far left isn't going to vote for it. The right isn't going to vote for it. The independents definitely aren't going to vote for it. So she's stuck with that small percent of so-called moderate Democrats who really aren't moderate at all. They're pretty left as well. That's all she's left with, and it's not many of them. It's not many of them. So how do you branch up? The Democrats don't have anyone. Republicans, we look good for the next 4 presidential elections. Ron DeSantis, maybe Don Jr. Right? We're good there. But at one point, you gotta move on. We have to move up, and neither side has that. And so what the Democrats are doing is they're saying, well, it doesn't matter who we prop up. We just got to get someone or dismantle the other side. And that's what they're trying to do. Someone asked me, are you glad that Roe v. Wade was overturned? I say, well, depends on how I look at it. Am I glad it was overturned? Sure. But at the exact same time, it was overturned at the worst possible time because the Democrats are going to ride women's rights, protect the body all the way through midterms. Inflation, high gas prices, Afghanistan, all this stuff almost out the window when it comes to voters' minds because now they're focused on abortion. Now they're focused on other stuff that the Republican platform doesn't have. The winner of the midterms is going to be who can get that mid-ground vote. Who can get those people that's in the middle that don't know if they're right or left. That's who wins this election. And right now, the Republican platform does not have that mid-ground support all the way. I truly believe that we'll take back the House, but I do not see us taking back the Senate. I think Herschel Walker will win, but I don't think Dr. Oz will win in Pennsylvania. That cancels it out. Dr. Oz doesn't have what it takes to win in Pennsylvania. He's not a Pennsylvania citizen. You know, he just moved there to run. John Fetterman was the mayor of a town in Pennsylvania. He was the former lieutenant governor as well. So John Fetterman has a lot of stuff under his belt. Now, given he had the stroke and he won't have the debate, sure. But when you look at it, John Fetterman is set up to win successfully. He's set up to win successfully. Ohio, I think Tim Ryan will carry Ohio. I think he has what it takes to carry it there. Ohio, even though tends to go red in presidential elections, I think it'll be a very close race, but I think Tim Ryan's going to carry that. I think the Democrats will win the Senate, but I don't think that they have what it takes to win the House. I don't think they have what it takes to win the House, and I think we'll have a lot of House seats flip. People are talking about, well, look at Alaska. Well, it doesn't matter. There's like, 4 different elections that's going to happen in Alaska, right? You have to win, then you have to win. There were 3 Republicans running against 1 Democrat. That's a huge party split. In November, it's Sarah Palin versus the woman. And Sarah Palin's going to carry that because the Republican votes are going to sway over to her. They're going to sway over to her. The special election, there were no real party divides and stuff. So people were just voting based on who was on the ballot. But when you get the two actual contestants, Sarah Palin's going to win that. Right? Which is why Sarah Palin has not stopped. She will be running in November. Yeah, we can say, oh, well, they got an extra seat in the House right now. Cool. But in November, the House representatives will see a red wave. They'll see a red wave. It'll be a huge red wave. It'll be one of the greatest red waves we've ever seen in a while. It'll be one of the red waves that we haven't seen in a while. And I honestly believe that we'll carry the House. We won't carry the Senate. We will not carry the Senate. I can't say it enough. But as Kamala Harris said, what happened in Virginia for the governor's race, whatever happens there, will determine what the midterms will look like. And Republicans won in Virginia. And I think we'll be able to carry it throughout the midterms unless this Roe v. Wade thing has a bigger impact than we thought it did. We look at Kansas, they voted no on the abortion thing. So we see that there are people who want to have abortions. We see that if they get out and they are the ones who vote and they keep pushing this idea that Republicans are threats to democracy without pushback, then the Democrats win it. The Democrats win it. And we can't have that. We'll be right back. We're back, right? Couldn't find the thing. Oh, snap. I got back out of it. Hold on. Let me go back. Go back. The whole point of it, and we just missed it. All right. So, we know that mainstream media played a huge role in the 2020 election, right? They came out. Who was it? Zuckerberg came out and he told us. He said, yeah, the FBI told us what to do and how to do it and yada, yada, yada. There's nothing stopping them from doing the exact same thing in the 2022 midterms. Right? When they push this idea of being threats to democracy, the combat to that, the strategic, that's the word, the strategic fight back and pushback, that can be censored. So it now it goes down to getting out into your community and doing the work, right? Going to your county Republican meetings, your state Republican meetings, and getting involved. That's how you win. We got to get boots on the ground running because that's how they play. There's a house election going on near us. Chuck Cruz versus Briscoe Cain. Now I'm not in Briscoe Cain's district, but I still follow the race because I know that's an important seat in the state of Texas. but they're boots on the ground running the Chuck Cruz campaign. I mean, every Saturday they do some sort of block walking. They're doing something to try to get people out to vote for Chuck Cruz. And that's what the Republicans have to do. We have to be boots on the ground, having some sort of events, rallies. Trump does it all the time, right? We all know Trump is the king of rallies. His rallies are always going to be superior to Biden's. That's a fact, right? You can't debate that. But we have to also not rely on him. We have to also not rely on him. We have to do some things ourselves. How many people are actually going out and supporting their candidate? I know Alex Corin does it all the time. I know Xander for Texas does it. I know Liddell does it. God and Patriotism, I know you're out there as well. Right? So I know some of you are out there. And that's what y'all do. That's what y'all do. Y'all are out there and you're watching, you're getting involved, you're campaigning, you're posting, giving people the facts, the truth, even if sometimes, they censor, right? I know God and Patriotism, she has all these different strikes. It's a lot. But these people, they're out there. They're campaigning, they're doing things. Alex Corin, he's always putting out some kind of endorsement, right? Whether that endorsement reaches 2 people or 100 people, he's doing something. And it shows the unity. It shows the platform, which is one of the big things I was talking about in the live with the People's National Party, is the platform. The platform of it all is important. And most of them, they don't look at that, right? If I brought another Republican on here, there may be some stuff that we argue about. And I'm like, wait a second. We're supposed to be on here to agree, right? We have to look together, orderly, decent, when we're going in to talk to the other side. We have to stand strong together. There's one person who's running for Congress. I like them. I hope they win. But the way that they're running their campaign is not the Republican way. They're not running this Republican platform. That's not what they're doing. You know it. Yeah, I'm sure some of you out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's not how they're running that campaign. They're running the campaign, I'm in the streets. Well, that's great. You're in the streets, but you're pushing forward unrealistic goals. You're pushing forward a goal that Republicans aren't going to pass. And you're giving them a promise, and this is where we messed up last time. We're pushing a promise that we cannot do. It's like cashing a check knowing it's not gonna make it. We know the check is gonna bounce. We know we don't have the tools necessary to supply the demand of the people that you're talking to up in California. But they push this idea of race and the economic status of the state. And when they get into Washington and people say, well, what about all this? We couldn't do it because it wasn't realistic on my part. What happens? Oh, Biden was right. Threats to democracy, right? That's how they're winning. They know we're running on a platform that we cannot uphold. We're running on a divisive platform that each other cannot stand on. They know it. They know that Republicans aren't going to play the race game. They know Republicans aren't going to play the gender game. They know Republicans aren't going to play the gay game. They know it. So guess what they're going to do? We're going to put up a woman to run. We're going to put up a black man to run. We're going to put up someone who's gay to run. We're going to put up a white man. They know how to win. Republicans stick to the same thing time and time and time and time and time again. One person said Candace Owens as vice president, Sarah Palin as vice president, right? These are women. They're like, throw a woman up there. Let's see. You throw a woman up there, you might see some interesting things as vice president. Things just might get a lot interesting because now we're playing the same game that they're playing. And they can't, Republicans would never put a woman in power. Well, we're throwing a woman vice president up there like the Democrats did. Oh, well, the Democrats could never get a black person. Well, let's throw in a black woman, a true black woman, not like Kamala Harris, who isn't even black, or at least doesn't claim to be, right? You throw something up there that's like that, and you might have a winning ticket. You might have a winning ticket. You put Ron DeSantis, DeSantis Owens, you might have a winning ticket, and we might just be better off than when we started with that winning ticket. Who knows? But that is a question that we have to face. That is a question that we have to look at when we get to it. If not, then the Democrats will always be able to use things like a threat to democracy against us because we aren't putting forward the necessary people that we should. We're not doing it. And the moment we put forward the necessary things, that's when we'll win. That's when we'll get better. That's when we'll grow. That's where we'll say, actually, we're winning this thing because we have the tools necessary, right? The tools necessary to win. The tools necessary to win. The Republicans, we don't have it. We don't have it, right? They have Kamala Harris. They have Obama. They brought Obama and Michelle Obama to the White House today for the portrait unveiling. You know what happened there, right? They played the game once again. Like I tell people this, and it's true in a way, but I mean, I guess it's debatable and can be argued. But Barack Obama is to the Democratic Party as Donald Trump is to the Republicans. If Joe Biden holds a rally, not many people are going to be there. That's a fact, right? If Ted Cruz holds a rally, not many people are going to be there. But if Barack Obama holds a rally, everybody's going to be there. Trump holds a rally, everybody's going to be there. Same thing goes for Ron DeSantis. It might not be as many people at Ron DeSantis' rally than there is at Trump's rally. I'm talking about on their own. That's just how it's always going to be, right? And so we have to play that game just as well as they did. Right now is the time that they need the Obamas to start showing their face in politics to get ready for the midterms. What a better way to do it than unveiling their portrait at the White House, right? What a better way, what a good way to kick it off, right? They're back. They're on the forefront. They're in the news. People are seeing them. People are getting back to know them. Right? Didn't Obama just win an award for his commentary on the nature documentary? Right. So their name, and it's getting thrown back out there. People are saying, oh, Obama. Where was he last year? He wasn't seen. Right. These people, they weren't making their voices. They weren't doing anything last year. But now it's election season. The gears are running. People are excited. I tell you that now. And now it's time for the election. And the question now comes, which side is going to stand true, stand tall, stand faithful in this election cycle? Are the Republicans going to be victorious with this big red wave that we've been talking about? Or will the Democrats, right, say, no, we're going to hold on to power for 2 more years until y'all can try again in 2024 for president, House, and Senate, all 3 of them? Or will Republicans say, you know what? We'll take the House, you keep the Senate. Will there be a 50-50 split, which would be something, right? Imagine we have a Republican House. A lot of the stuff that we're saying won't pass, and I truly think we'll get it. Or Republican Senate. We'll have a lot of that'll change the entire spectrum of the Biden presidency. He really wouldn't get elected in 24 because nothing would get through, nothing would pass. I mean, they'd run it from the inside out. And I could see it. I see us taking one of the I can see us taking one of the branches and just pulling Rand Paul on Obama and just stopping everything. Nope, not gonna work. Nope, not gonna work. I actually see it. And I think that's what we'll see in this midterm is one side is the Republicans will either take everything or we'll take at least one thing. And we're going to ride that all the way to 2024. We're going to ride, and we're not going to let go, right? That's the problem. Last time we let go, and this year we can't let it happen. 2022, we can't let it happen. We got to get out. We got to vote here. And if there are runoff elections, guess what? When the runoff elections happen, we have to get back out and we have to vote in those as well. That's one of the biggest problems that we faced is in the runoff elections. We didn't get out and we didn't vote again. You got to get out and vote in the midterms. You got to get out and vote in the general election. And Republicans have got to take back the House, take back the Senate, take back both, take back something. That is the only way we can save America from this inevitable doom that it is falling into. Right? I didn't call them threats to democracy. Not saying they're evil people. They're just pushing us towards a doom that if we don't get onto now, if we don't stop them now, it just may be too late because we have no clue what they have up their sleeves. And I believe we'll do it. I believe we'll do it. I believe we'll take back everything that needs to be taken back. And we'll do it all in the name of saving America. We'll do it all in the name of saving America. Joe Biden doesn't stand a chance. He doesn't stand a chance. I tell you that now. Kamala Harris, she's laughing somewhere. She has no clue where she is. She's laughing somewhere. Biden's not laughing. He just doesn't know where he is. And Joe Biden is trying to control him. Hillary Clinton peeping her head back into the political field as well. These are things that the people are doing. And so we see what they're doing. We see their moves. We can't let them win, people. We can't let them win. Next week, we're going to dive into some of the primaries because most of them should be finished by September 15th. We'll dive into there. And then the 16th and 17th is the Youth Summit. So that means September 21st, when we come back, we will take a look at the Youth Summit. Take a look at what Candace Owens had to say, Ted Cruz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, because I'm sure social media will be all over it. You already know they will. So we already have our plans for next week. We have our plans for the rest of September, because the politics is picking up now. Remember early in the year I said that. Now they're picking up. I've made my decision on the Texas Youth Summit. I'm not going. But I talked to Christian Collins. I've talked to them. Great people. Maybe next year, but not this year. Not this year. We won't be able to make it. But Christian Collins, he's a great guy. And so I wish him all the best. And we'll be analyzing some of those speeches September 21st as well. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Real PJ Pruden. Make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram, Texas_Independent. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, PJ Pruden. I think that's what it is. And YouTube is Texas_Independent as well. So YouTube, Instagram, TikTok are all the same. Facebook is the exact same as the Twitter, right? So it was great talking to y'all on Facebook. I'll catch y'all next week, same time, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Patriots Den podcast right here on Facebook and or YouTube and or Instagram. You're right here. Right? Wonderful. And we'll catch y'all on the next one.